Listen to me carefully, because what I'm about to say is something most people never truly understand. Too many people confuse noise with love. They think if someone shouts, posts, or makes a big scene, that means they care. And they confuse silence with indifference, assuming that if someone doesn't constantly declare their feelings, they must not feel anything at all. But that's a mistake. Real feelings don't always shout. Sometimes they move in whispers. Sometimes they move in restraint. Sometimes they move in quiet courage that doesn't demand attention but carries incredible weight. If a man truly misses you, you won't always see it in obvious ways. He may not write poetry. He may not send grand gestures. He may not beg or perform for the world to see, but he will find ways to reach you quietly, consistently, intentionally. He will let his presence, his effort, and his subtle actions speak louder than any words could. And that is what we're talking about today, those quiet reaches. Because when you learn to recognize them, you stop chasing confusion. You stop misreading silence as disinterest. You start seeing truth for what it really is. This message is for anyone who has ever asked themselves, does he care or am I imagining it? You need to understand how pride, fear, and circumstance can shape the way someone expresses their feelings. Missing someone is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet. Sometimes it is subtle. But make no mistake, when it's real, it finds a way. And today, we're going to explore exactly what that looks like so you can stop guessing and start recognizing genuine care. Real missing shows up in small, consistent actions. Listen, when someone truly misses you, the feeling doesn't explode, it repeats. It shows up in patterns, not performances. Real missing is quiet, but it is persistent. It's not a grand speech delivered once. It's a steady presence that keeps finding its way back into your awareness. You see, emotions that are real don't depend on perfect timing. They don't wait for the right mood, the right words, or the right moment. They move anyway. And when a man genuinely feels your absence, he doesn't just remember you, he responds to that memory with action. Small action, respectful action, consistent action. He may not declare what he feels. He may not dramatize his emotions, but he stays connected in subtle ways. He checks in without needing attention. He remembers details you thought no one noticed. He finds natural reasons to keep communication alive, not to pull you in forcefully, but to make sure the connection doesn't fade into silence. Because when someone matters, indifference becomes impossible. And here's something powerful to understand: consistency requires intention. Anyone can act once when emotion is high. Anyone can send a message in a moment of loneliness. But repeated, measured effort that comes from genuine attachment, it means you are not an impulse. You are a presence that continues to occupy space in his thoughts. Small actions are often dismissed because they don't look dramatic. But in real human connection, stability is louder than intensity. A man who misses you is not trying to impress you. He is trying to remain connected to you. And connection doesn't shout, it sustains. You might notice he reopens conversations naturally, without pressure. He interacts with care, not urgency. He maintains warmth without demanding closeness. These behaviors don't seek attention, they reveal attention. They show that even in distance, he has not become emotionally absent. Missing someone is not about emotional chaos. It is about emotional gravity. Just like gravity, you may not see it, but you see its effect. Things are pulled closer. Threads remain unbroken. Presence continues in subtle forms. And the reason these actions are small is because real feelings are careful. When someone values you, they don't want to damage what they care about through force or impatience. So they move gently. They stay present without overwhelming. They show they care without demanding proof in return. Understand this clearly. People who don't care choose ease. They let silence grow. They allow distance to become permanent. But someone who truly misses you resists that drift, not loudly, not dramatically, quietly, but repeatedly. Consistency is emotional truth in motion. It is care that refuses to vanish. It is presence that survives distance. And when you learn to recognize these small, steady signals, you stop searching for loud validation, and you start seeing real connection exactly where it lies, in actions that return again and again without needing to be announced. Pride may block words, but it can't block effort. Listen closely. Pride is one of the strongest forces inside a human being. It protects the ego, guards vulnerability, and keeps emotions hidden behind composure. Many people believe that if someone truly misses you, they will say it openly and without hesitation. But real life doesn't always move that way. Sometimes feelings are strong and expression is restrained. A man can feel the weight of your absence and still struggle to put that feeling into words. Not because the emotion is weak, but because exposing it feels risky. Words create vulnerability, words remove protection. And when pride is present, it builds a wall around confession. But here's what pride cannot do. It cannot erase effort. Effort is emotion finding another path. When someone misses you but refuses to speak dramatically about it, they begin to communicate through behavior. They may not say, "I miss you," but they create opportunities to remain connected. They may not confess longing, but they invest energy into maintaining presence. That is not avoidance, that is emotion adapting to resistance. Pride says, do not reveal weakness. Feeling says, do not lose connection. And when those two forces collide, effort becomes the compromise. You may notice subtle but meaningful actions. He reaches out under neutral reasons. He checks in without emotional pressure. He engages in conversation that seems simple on the surface, but carries intention underneath. These are not accidental moments. These are deliberate choices to stay within your orbit without exposing internal conflict. Understand something important. Words are easy when there is nothing at risk. Anyone can express emotion when vulnerability costs nothing. But when someone continues to show presence despite pride, despite hesitation, despite inner resistance, that effort carries weight. It means the connection matters enough to overcome discomfort, even if expression remains guarded. Effort requires energy. Effort requires decision. Effort requires emotional investment. And people do not repeatedly invest where they feel nothing. There is also dignity involved. Some individuals believe that openly admitting longing places them in a position of weakness. They fear rejection. They fear misinterpretation. They fear giving power away. So instead of emotional declarations, they choose respectful action. They show care through reliability rather than confession. They maintain connection through consistency rather than vulnerability. This does not make the feeling smaller. In many cases, it makes the feeling more controlled and therefore more real. Because emotion that survives pride is emotion with depth. Pride can silence a sentence. Pride can delay a confession. Pride can soften expression. But pride cannot sustain effort without genuine motivation behind it. If someone repeatedly finds ways to remain present in your life without being asked, without being forced, without creating drama, you are witnessing emotion moving through resistance. You are seeing care that chooses action even when words feel difficult. This is why observing behavior matters more than interpreting silence. Silence is often misunderstood as indifference, when in reality it can be restraint. The absence of dramatic language does not mean the absence of feeling. Sometimes the truest emotions move quietly because they are guarded carefully. When you understand this, you stop measuring sincerity only by what is spoken. You begin to recognize intention and movement. consistency in behavior, and meaning in persistence. Pride may shape expression, but it cannot manufacture sustained effort without real emotion fueling it. And when someone continues to show up in small, deliberate ways despite the protective barrier of ego, what you are seeing is not confusion. You are seeing feelings strong enough to find a path forward. Even without words, he respects your space but never erases you. Listen, real missing is not desperate, and it is not intrusive. It does not push past your boundaries to prove intensity. It does not demand attention to confirm importance. When a man truly misses you, he understands something many people never learn. Connection does not require pressure, and care does not require control. Respect is the evidence of value. If someone truly cares about your presence in their life, they don't try to force access to you. They don't overwhelm your peace. They don't treat closeness like entitlement. Instead, they hold a quiet awareness of you while honoring the space that exists between you. That space is not a barrier. It is a sign of emotional maturity. You see, it is easy to stay connected when everything is convenient. It is easy to show attention when closeness is constant. But when distance exists and someone still behaves as though you matter, that is where genuine missing reveals itself. He gives you room to breathe, but he never behaves as if you disappeared. He may not speak daily, but when he does, his tone carries familiarity. He may not occupy your time, but he acknowledges your existence. He does not intrude, but he does not detach. He moves with balance, a rare balance between presence and restraint. And that balance tells you something powerful. You are remembered intentionally. People who no longer care erase, they avoid mention. They remove emotional recognition. They create a clean break so complete that it feels like the connection never existed. But someone who truly misses you does the opposite. Even in distance, they maintain a thread, not a chain that binds you, a thread that connects you. That thread shows up in subtle ways. A thoughtful check-in, a warm response, a calm acknowledgement of your life moments. Nothing overwhelming, nothing possessive, nothing demanding, just steady recognition that you remain meaningful. Because when someone values you, they do not treat you like a closed chapter. They treat you like a respected presence that still exists, even if circumstances changed. There is dignity in this kind of missing. It does not chase. It does not pressure, it does not create emotional chaos. It allows time, allows growth, allows reality, yet it does not pretend you meant nothing. And this is where emotional discipline becomes visible. Immature attachment says, if I miss you, I must have you. Mature attachment says, if I miss you, I will honor what we shared without violating what is. That difference matters. One approach is driven by need. The other is driven by respect, and respect is the foundation of any connection that deserves to survive distance. When a man respects your space but never erases you, he is communicating something without words. The connection still holds value even in silence. He is not trying to reclaim control of your life. He is not trying to undo time. He is simply allowing the bond to exist with dignity. And that kind of presence is powerful because it is calm. It does not compete for attention. It does not argue for importance. It remains steady, composed, and intentional. Real missing does not try to replace your peace. It aligns with it. It does not rush back into your life with urgency. It remains nearby with awareness. It does not disappear to protect pride. It stays present to honor meaning. When you recognize this balance, space without erasure, distance without indifference, you begin to understand what genuine emotional value looks like. It is not loud, it is not forceful. It is respectful presence that continues quietly, proving that what mattered once still matters now. Quiet reaching is about connection, not control. Listen carefully. there is a difference between reaching out because you care and reaching out because you want to own someone's attention. Real missing doesn't scream for dominance. Real missing doesn't manipulate pressure or demand. It moves quietly, deliberately, and with purpose, and that purpose is connection, not control. When a man truly misses you, his focus is on maintaining a bond, not bending you to his will. He is aware that forcing interaction or emotion only creates resistance, confusion, and stress. He knows that the heart cannot be commanded, that feelings cannot be coerced, and that respect is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. So his actions are careful. He does not overwhelm. He does not impose. He moves in ways that honor your autonomy while still keeping himself present in your world. Quiet reaching looks like subtle gestures of attention. It is checking in at moments when it feels natural. It is acknowledging your life without demanding a reaction. It is offering support without expecting gratitude. These actions are not about proving ownership or eliciting compliance. They are about sustaining a connection, keeping the thread alive between two people who matter to each other. Control, on the other hand, always seeks a return. It creates tension. It tests limits. It turns connection into a transaction. If I reach, you must respond. If I care, you must acknowledge. Quiet reaching is different. It does not attach conditions to presence. It does not seek to manipulate feelings or behavior. It acts from intention alone because missing you is about honoring the bond, not bending it. Here's the key: consistent, quiet presence communicates something loud without words. It says, you matter. I remember, it allows space for both people to exist fully as individuals while still maintaining emotional alignment. It shows that feelings are deep enough to respect freedom and strong enough to withstand distance. When someone is trying to control, you feel tension, you feel obligation, you feel the weight of someone else's desire pressing on your peace. When someone is quietly reaching, you feel acknowledgement. You feel warmth. You feel the gentle pull of connection without the chains of manipulation. One threatens your freedom. The other preserves it. One forces the narrative. The other honors it. And understand, this quiet reaching requires patience. It requires self-discipline. It requires emotional intelligence. You cannot reach in silence without understanding timing, without respecting boundaries, without sensing the delicate balance between presence and absence. That is why quiet reaching is rare. That is why it is meaningful. That is why it speaks louder than any loud confession or dramatic return. Real missing is not about making someone respond. It is about showing care that persists despite distance, despite pride, despite hesitation. It trusts that the connection exists beyond immediate results. It respects the person you are while still expressing the person they are in a way that is gentle, consistent, and intentional. When you recognize quiet reaching, you recognize truth. You recognize intention. You recognize someone who values connection over control, presence over performance, respect over ego. And that is what separates fleeting emotion from genuine care. It is subtle, yes. It is patient, yes, but it is unwavering. Quiet reaching is love expressed wisely, not loudly, and it is always worth noticing. When someone truly misses you, they don't disappear forever. Listen, here's a truth many people overlook: missing someone is not a momentary feeling. It is not a fleeting thought that vanishes with time. When a person truly cares, truly values your presence, and truly feels the absence of you in their life, that feeling leaves a mark that refuses to fade completely. It is persistent, it is enduring, and most importantly, it finds a way back quietly, steadily, intentionally. Disappearance is easy. Walking away, ghosting, fading out, anyone can do that. But consistent absence is reserved for those who no longer care. When someone truly misses you, disappearance is temporary, even if it seems indefinite. They may need time, they may need space. They may even struggle with pride, fear, or circumstance. But eventually the pull of connection, the weight of what mattered, brings them back toward you. You see, genuine missing is not about urgency. It is not about instant reconciliation. It is about a thread that cannot be severed. Life moves, responsibilities demand attention, emotions demand patience. And yet, a man who truly feels your absence will find ways, in whatever manner he can, to maintain contact. Sometimes it is a message out of the blue. Sometimes it is a small gesture that reminds you he is still present in thought, if not in proximity. Sometimes it is timing itself, a patient pause until he feels ready to return. The reason this matters is simple: emotional bonds leave traces. Real connection cannot be erased. You cannot force someone to forget something that shaped them deeply. You cannot erase a person who mattered. And when someone misses you, they do not allow that erasure. They may retreat temporarily, but they will eventually seek to reconnect. This is the nature of meaningful attachment. It does not vanish into nothingness. It adapts, it waits, it persists. And here is the part most people miss: the return is rarely dramatic. It doesn't always come with confessions or apologies. Sometimes it is a quiet acknowledgement, a simple message, a thoughtful gesture, or a conversation that reestablishes presence without fanfare. That subtlety is intentional. It shows respect for your space, dignity, and the life you have been living in the meantime. It is a reminder that even absence cannot erase importance. When someone disappears forever, it is final. It is not intentional restraint, it is indifference. But when someone truly misses you, absence is temporary. Distance does not become erasure. Silence does not become forgetfulness. Even when circumstances prevent immediate connection, the bond remains quietly persistent, patiently waiting for the moment it can manifest again. The lesson here is powerful. Do not confuse temporary distance with lack of feeling. Do not assume someone who steps back is lost to you forever. Patterns of quiet returns, subtle efforts, and consistent attention over time are the markers of genuine missing. They prove that feelings, when authentic, find a way forward, not through loud declarations, not through pressure, not through urgency, but through persistence, patience, and quiet intention. When you understand this, you stop chasing what is already trying to reach you. You stop demanding proof from someone whose heart already contains it. You learn to read presence in subtle forms, recognize the markers of intention, and trust that real feelings do not vanish into thin air. They return quietly, consistently, and inevitably, because genuine missing cannot disappear forever. Recognize energy, not just words. Now listen carefully, because this is the lesson that changes everything. Too often, we get caught up in what people say, the drama they create, or the promises they make. But words are easy. Anyone can talk, anyone can text, post, or shout declarations that sound convincing. Actions, consistency, and presence, that is where truth lies. Real missing is not loud, it is persistent. It moves quietly, carefully, and intentionally. It does not demand attention. It respects space. It honors your boundaries. When a man truly misses you, he will find ways to stay connected, even in silence, even in distance. He will not erase you. He will not overwhelm you. He will not manipulate or control you. Instead, he will show up in subtle ways, consistently, with energy that proves care without needing to explain itself. That energy is the language of truth. It is patience, respect, consistency, and quiet intention all wrapped into one. So stop measuring love and connection solely by words or theatrics. Watch energy, observe consistency, feel intention, Because when you recognize energy over noise, you see what is real, and you stop wasting time chasing what will never truly reach you. Real feelings will always find a way quietly, patiently, and powerfully.